I want to bring in some of our journalists who have joined the conversation, and I want to start with Suzy Weiss, who is co-founder of the Free Press. Suzy, thank you so much for joining us, and we'd love to hear your question.
I think it's interesting that we're having this conversation, this discussion at a moment where something like 70% of kids have a smartphone by the time they're 12 and therefore have access to the internet where they can find way worse things than whatever John was quoting and God knows what untold horrors. And I'm wondering if that changes the calculus here. And if not, should it? I do wonder if while the parents are getting worked up at board meetings about, this or that graphic novel, if their kids are at home experiencing God knows what on the computer.
I think, especially in a moment in which so much material is accessible to everybody in a smartphone, what we need to do is to bring discussions about difficult and sensitive topics into the classroom in a responsible manner. No doubt some teachers aren't doing that. No doubt some schools are instead indoctrinating kids, and that is something that should be opposed strongly. But the goal cannot be for politicians to step in and try counter indoctrination. Chris Rufo has complained about the capture of higher education in the United States, and when he has celebrated, when he was appointed a trustee of New College in Florida, that he's now recapturing education. I don't want education to be captured or recaptured. I want teachers in the classroom to actually be able to deal with important and difficult issues, whether it's sexuality, whether it's the nation's history, in a sensitive way that gives voice to different interpretations, to different ways of understanding our country's present and our country's past. And that allows students to contextualize the kind of material that they're going to encounter among their friends, on TikTok, on YouTube, in any case. That, to me, is more than ever the role of a high-quality education. And these blanket bans, these blanket pieces of legislation are not going to help students and teachers accomplish that.
Okay, Chris, back to you with the question about the impact of the fact that kids on their phones can do end runs in any kind of way they might imagine on some of this material.
Yeah, I look at it in the same way that you could say, well, kids, high school kids can play Hey Mister and have someone buy them a six-pack of beer. So we'd be better off, kind of lowering the drinking age. And I'd say no. And the reason is this. I actually take the precise opposite position that what was implied is that in an age where there is a glut of content of all varying degrees of quality, it's more important than ever for our official institutions, especially our state institutions, to maintain the highest moral, ethical, and academic standards.